Welcome to the Dermatology Studio with Dr. Yusra Ayaz.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving deep into a condition that really highlights the incredible connection between our skin and our joints, psoriatic arthritis.
So let's just jump right in and look at the real human side of this. What you're seeing here is psoriatic arthritis. You can see how it affects both the skin and the joints. Now, this is a type of inflammatory arthritis, but it has a key difference from something like rheumatoid arthritis. It's what we call seronegative. And all that really means is that certain antibodies we typically find in rheumatoid arthritis just aren't there in the blood.
Okay, so let's get our bearings. First things first, what exactly is psoriatic arthritis, or PsA for short, and who does it tend to affect?
Now, this is pretty staggering. If you have moderate to severe psoriasis, there's a 40% chance of also developing this type of arthritis. It's just a huge reminder of how closely linked these two conditions really are.
You know, one of the biggest questions is, which comes first, the skin or the joints? Well, the timeline gives us a major clue. For a whopping 70% of people, the skin signs of psoriasis pop up first, sometimes even years before the joints start to ache. It's way less common for the joints to be the first to act up, or for both to happen at the exact same time.
And here's something you might not expect. This isn't a disease of old age. The typical onset is actually before you hit 40. This means it often impacts people right in the prime of their lives, which can be incredibly challenging. It's almost unheard of for it to start in childhood.
This is a fantastic way to understand that PsA isn't just one simple thing. It's super complex, and it hits the body in several different areas, or domains as they're called. Of course, you've got the skin and nail problems, but it can also show up as arthritis in your limbs, as inflammation in your spine, or even as something called enthesitis, which is basically inflammation right where your tendons hook onto your bones.
So the big question is, why? What is actually going on inside the body to cause all of this? To really get it, we've got to look under the hood, at the mechanics, the pathophysiology, and the genetics.
At its heart, this is a story of the immune system going haywire. Your own immune cells get fired up inside the lining of your joints, and they start just pumping out these inflammatory messengers called cytokines. It's like a cytokine storm that leads to more blood vessels, more scarring, and this really bizarre and destructive process where old bone gets eaten away while weird new bone gets formed, all at the same time.
And your genes? They play a huge role. There's a really strong link to specific genetic markers, HLAs, which are like the ID cards for your immune system. And depending on which version of these markers you have, the disease can show up differently. For instance, if you have the HLA-C marker, you might get psoriasis early in life and then arthritis later. But if you have HLA-B27, it's more likely the skin and joints will get hit at the same time. Okay, so we've got the why down. Now let's dig into the how. Psoriatic arthritis can actually present in 5 distinct ways, and each one has its own unique pattern of how it affects the joints.
All right, first up is the one you might have heard of, the classic presentation. It's called asymmetrical oligoarthritis. It usually hits the hands and feet, and as you can see right here, it can cause an entire finger or toe to swell up. That condition is called dactylitis, and it gives it that famous and pretty descriptive sausage digit look.
Then we have a couple of other patterns. The second type, symmetrical polyarthritis, looks a whole lot like rheumatoid arthritis because it affects the same joints on both sides of the body. Then you have the fourth type, psoriatic spondylitis. With this one, the inflammation's main target is the spine, which can cause some serious pain and stiffness in the back and neck.
Now the third type gets really specific. It goes after the joints at the very ends of your fingers and toes, the ones right up by the nails. And on an X-ray, the bone damage can create this really unique shape called a pencil-in-cup deformity. It's literally where one bone gets whittled down to a point and fits right into the worn-out cup-like shape of the bone next to it.
And last, we have the fifth type, and it is by far the most severe, arthritis mutilans. I mean, the name itself sounds intense. This is an incredibly destructive form where the inflammation is just so aggressive that it chews through cartilage and bone. The damage can be so bad that the bones actually shorten, making the fingers look like they're retracting, a feature they call telescoped fingers.
So, with these 5 very different ways the disease can show up, you can probably imagine that getting a diagnosis can be a real puzzle. So how do doctors sift through all the clues to figure it out for sure?
This is where imaging, especially an X-ray, becomes absolutely essential. I mean, an X-ray like this can show all sorts of telltale signs of the disease that you just can't see from the outside. It provides that rock-solid evidence that doctors need to make the call.
So when a radiologist is looking at these images, what are they hunting for? Well, they're looking for specific clues. Things like that destructive arthritis in the end joints of the fingers, or joints that have completely fused together. And they're looking for that real hallmark of PsA, that strange combination of bone being destroyed and new, weird bone being created, all in the same place.
Now, to make sure everyone is on the same page and to make the diagnosis as objective as possible, clinicians have a fantastic tool. It's a scoring system called the CASPAR criteria.
And the way it works is actually pretty straightforward. It's a point system. First, you have to have some kind of inflammatory joint disease. Then you start adding up points. Got psoriasis right now? That's 2 points. Are your nails involved or do you have that sausage digit? That's another point. If your total score hits 3 or more, then boom, the diagnosis of psoriatic arthritis is confirmed.
Okay, so a diagnosis is in. The focus now completely shifts to managing the condition. What's the game plan? What are the treatment options on the table? This chart really drives home a key point about treating PsA. There is no one-size-fits-all approach. The treatment has to be tailored to the specific part of the disease that's acting up. The game plan for arthritis in your hands is going to be totally different from the plan for inflammation in your spine. Generally speaking, the treatment strategy is kind of like climbing a ladder. You start on the first rung with conventional drugs like NSAIDs or methotrexate. If those aren't cutting it, you climb to the second rung, biologics that target a key inflammatory protein called TNF. And if you need to, there's a third rung with even more advanced targeted options. All right, let's start to wrap this up. Let's talk about the long-term outlook for someone with PsA and finish with a really important thought about awareness.
You know, doctors can sometimes get a sense from the very beginning that someone might have a tougher road ahead. There's certain things that can indicate a poor prognosis, like being very young when it starts, having those specific genetic markers we talked about, or having really widespread skin disease and signs of major inflammation in the blood.
At the end of the day, it's so important to remember that behind all the science, the criteria, and the treatment plans, there's always a person. This quote from World Psoriasis Day just says it all, doesn't it? Understanding the many layers of a condition like this isn't just about knowledge. It's about bringing empathy to the people who live with it every single day.
Thanks for watching. Hit like, share, and subscribe to the Dermatology Studio. Ask your skin queries in the comments below.